Before My Heart Gives Out by Kira 18 on AO3. Chapter 18. Class 1A. Izuku doesn't know how long it took him to get back up. In fact, he doesn't remember sitting in the first place. Back, sliding down the rough surface of the wall, facing the bustling streets in front of him. Knees drawing up and arms hugging his limbs close to his chest, seeking any kind of contact. Hoping for someone to ground him back to reality, an anchor of some sorts to make him focus, to lure him out of the rabbit hole his mind inevitably wanders into. It doesn't work, though. He sits there, staring into the all-too-familiar darkness, encompassing his surroundings, feeling the movement of the people around him, all of them oblivious to the world-shattering thoughts that are going through his head. Blissfully unaware of his inner turmoil as they go on with their lives. He doesn't truly register his movements as he gets up and makes his way to Shinsou's scheduled meeting point. His body moves on autopilot. His head feels like it's been plunged underwater. His thoughts circle through his mind sluggishly. Small blessing, he supposes. A great contrast to the chaotic onslaughter that had previously threatened to suffocate him. It's almost peacefully quiet as he finally arrives at his destination, a bus stop just a couple of blocks from Shinsou's house. A slight chill hangs in the air around him, making him wish he'd worn something thicker today. Shinsou is waiting for him when he gets there. The familiar aura should be comforting. It should bring him the safety and hope he's been associating with the taller friend's presence. Yet, even though his entire being is yearning for it, it doesn't. Instead, he feels the reality of the situation crash down on him once again. It's so overwhelming that tears unwillingly spring into his eyes, despite his best efforts to keep his emotions in check. Whatever greeting he had practiced on the way here gets caught in his throat, words failing him as his mind screeches to a halt. Suddenly, painfully aware of the life-changing secret he's harboring within him. He doesn't let the tears fall, though. Doesn't let himself go. If not for his friend's sake, then for his own wavering sanity. Nonetheless, he's glad for the glasses he's wearing at the moment. Taking in a shuddering breath, he straightens his back and forces his features to relax into a passive neutrally, giving his best friend a reassuring smile as he greets him, and they set out toward Yaoyorozu's house, Shinsou's classmate, if he recalls correctly. Shinsou tells him about his day, and he tries his best to reply accordingly. He speaks when he has to, and reacts when he needs to. He smiles, and it feels forced, and oh, so fake. A metaphorical mask covering his features. It's heavy and feels so wrong, and makes the bile rise in his throat as the lies trickle effortlessly from his throat, creating what feels like an impregnable wall between him and his friend. It must be working, though, since the teen doesn't seem to notice that anything's wrong. They get there faster than he expected. He finds himself internally hoping that he hadn't spaced out or dissociated on the way here. A tall, imposing metal gate blocks their way to the girl's house. Mansion? Mansion? He's not sure, but doesn't really care either way. He hears the telltale buzz of an electric door latch, and they walk into what seems like a clearing or a garden. They stride up to the main entrance, and the nerves he's been feeling seem to amplify tenfold. For the first time since he stepped outside the hospital, he remembers why he was here in the first place. He was going to meet Shinsou's friends, the people that would stay by his side, even when Izuku himself wouldn't be able to anymore. The door opens, and they're greeted by a tall, feminine shape. Her voice is soft when she speaks, and Izuku has to stomp down the growing desire to hide behind his friend's back. "Hello, Shinsou. I'm glad you made it. Everyone's already here," she says first, opening the door a little bit more, now that she knows who is behind it. "You must be Midoriya, right? Shinsou told us all about you." She continues, kindly, her voice holding a tinge of excitement in it. Right. He wills his voice to work as he follows them both inside. And you're... He trails off, waiting for her to confirm his suspicions of her identity. Oh, sorry. How rude of me. I'm Yaoyorozu Momo. But you can just call me Momo. It's easier. She answers without missing a beat, stopping abruptly as they reach some sort of great hall. The open space makes him falter as he steps in. The sheer width of the room is overwhelming. Guys, Shinsou and his friend are here, she calls out as she makes her way to a large table placed in the middle of the room. Several greetings are called out all at once, voice overlapping each other. Most of the forms he feels are familiar. Bakugo and Kirishima are seated at the end of the table, surrounded by 3 people he recognized from the USJ incident. However, he never interacted with them. Izuku also recognizes Todoroki and a couple other students he's interacted with at the USJ. A hand squeezes his shoulder, and he realizes how strange he must seem, standing there, frozen, in the front of the entrance. Smiling at Shinsou, gratefully, they walk together towards the others. Kirishima is the first one to meet them halfway. The teen bounces towards them with something akin to a skip in his step, followed closely by one of the 2 boys that were sitting next to Bakugo. Midoriya, bro! It's so good to see you again! The boy exclaims excitedly, his enthusiasm reminding Izuku of a puppy. Nice to see you too, Kirishima. Shinsou deadpans from his place next to them. His voice carries a tinge of amusement. Realizing his mistake, Kirishima proceeds to go into a long tangent, apologizing profusely to the teen for his obvious unmanliness. Izuku thinks that maybe coming here wasn't a mistake after all. Hey! You're Midoriya! The other boy who came with Kirishima suddenly calls out for his attention. Kirishima hasn't been able to stop talking about you. Says you stopped a store robbery? The teen continues, cheerfully, his elbow coming up to nudge Kirishima in the side as he speaks. I'm Kaminari, by the way. He finally introduces himself. He's about to answer, but the arm around his shoulder interrupts him. He has to fight the urge to flinch. Be honest, though. Are you really blind? The teen continues with a lick to his voice. Skepticism, plausible. Whatever answer he gets, once again, interrupted. This time by a low growl from somewhere behind them. His senses inform him that it's Bakugo. It's not his voice that speaks up, though. A deeper, unfamiliar voice sounds from somewhere next to him. When did all these people gather around them? Kaminari, that is very rude and unbecoming of a respectful UA student. Turning towards the voice, his senses that stiffen of the person's statue. It seems as if the boy is making chopping motions in the air. It's with a start that he remembers him, the same boy he saved from Stain, Ingenium's brother. He's interrupted from his contemplation as the teen finally turns his way, actually addressing him for once. I'm sorry for my classmates' inconsiderable behavior, he declares dramatically, bowing lowly. It's okay, I get that question a lot, Izuku says, hoping for this whole interaction to end already, feeling multiple gazes trained on him. The boy stays there for a few more seconds, but eventually straightens up once again, much to Izuku's relief. The name is Tenya Ida. It is nice to meet you, Midoriya-san. There's an awkward silence that follows his words. His hand is outstretched, and Izuku has to fight the urge to facepalm. When the boy realizes, Izuku can practically feel the embarrassment radiating off of him. Shinsou spares him any further humiliation by pretending to tell Izuku about it, prompting him to finally answer with his own hand up. Izuku thinks he could hear Kaminari snorting in the background, but he pays it no mind. It happens a lot, don't worry about it, Shinsou says as he pats the taller teen on the shoulder. They go through a few more greetings, thankfully without any other awkwardness, before the class goes back to the table to study. Izuku taking a seat between Kirishima and Shinsou. The former is too busy getting yelled at by Bakugo to strike up any conversation with Midoriya. Small victory in Midoriya's book. It doesn't last long, though. Soon enough, the class goes through most of the required curriculum. Some of the students, namely Kaminari, a girl he come to know as Ashido, and a boy named Sero, start getting distracted. If what Shinsou told him about the trio was true, it's a wonder their concentration lasted this long. Their conversation is getting louder, beginning to attract the rest of the class's attention. It's awesome, that's what it is, Kaminari is saying, his clenched fist hitting the table dramatically. This dude has been out there for years, and he's never been captured. Think he's got some kind of evasion quirk? Sarah contemplates out loud as a response. Nah, the guy probably has a way cooler quirk. You saw him at the USJ. Anxiety slithers into the pit of his stomach at the girl's words. He took down more villains than Aizawa-sensei. He even fought the Nomu. Ashido continues, excitedly, almost vibrating in her seat. He got really hurt, though, Keto. The voice is soft but firm, a low Keto uttered under the end of their sentence. Izuku remembers her from the USJ. He saved us all. Multiple grunts of agreements follow her words. Shinsou's smile is getting wider by the second. I wish I was there. I kept searching for videos of him on the internet, but nobody even gets a clear shot. Kaminari whines dejectedly, head falling onto the table's surface. Sero rubs his back in sympathy. It would be expected since his name is Shadow. Ida chimes in, getting a few weird looks from his classmates, probably since he's normally really focused on his studies. At least that's what Shinsou told him. Why are you looking at me like that? I respect Shadow a lot. The boy states seriously. He's the reason my brother was able to continue his hero career. He's the reason Stain is behind bars right now. Todoroki nods in confirmation, equally as serious. Really? I didn't know that. He doesn't think Ashido could be happier right now. He's so cool. I think so too. Comes a shy voice from the seat next to Ida's. He saved me a long time ago. It's in those words that bring a flood of memories to the surface of Izuku's mind. A dark alley, a girl, and a fight. I got lost on my way home and a man attacked me. Shadow didn't let him hurt me. He fought him and stayed with me until the police came. He's the reason I want to get stronger. I wanted to be like him. She admits quietly, a beaming smile on her features. Izuku's heart swells at their words, despite the warmth crawling up his neck at the praises. So manly! Kirishima explains suddenly, interrupting the awed silence that had settled over the class. Shinsou's eyes are on him, and he could feel the smirk from the seat next to the teen. He tries his best not to hit him. I told you you were a hero. The menace whisper in his ears, chuckling lowly as he ducks and avoids the hand coming to hit him on the back of the head. They keep talking about Shadow for what feels like forever. All of them chiming in stories of rescues Izuku did over the years. Some they heard of in the news, and some they saw firsthand. It's overwhelming, really, all the attention and praise he's getting. All this. This wasn't why he did it at all. He never wanted the credit or attention. He only ever wanted to save people. It seems, in his life he managed to do that much at least. Feeling the need for some fresh air, he asks Yaoyorozu quietly for the way back out, and she gladly ushers him to the balcony next to the hall they're studying in. Once alone, he can finally breathe. Leaning against the railing, the cool metal is almost grounding. The quiet both helps and doesn't all at once. His thoughts, rising once more to the surface, the emotions he's been suppressing, break through. The balcony door slides open, and someone walks out to join him. He feels the new presence behind him, more than he hears it. The boy's steps are quiet, reminding him just who it is that had stopped up to stand next to him. Not a fan of people? Todoroki asks, voice calm, no hint of judgment in his tone. Perhaps even understanding. Not a fan of this many. Izuku answers easily, gaining a hum from the boy next to him. He feels strangely comfortable around the half-and-half teen. You seem different, he says after a few minutes of tranquil silence. Well, I'm not being hit by a car, or getting fired this time, so... He jokes, but it falls short to his ears. The humor is almost forced. Yes, but I think it's something else, Todoroki says, his perceptiveness once again surprising Izuku. When Izuku doesn't respond immediately, he plows on. You don't have to tell me. We barely know each other after all. But from personal experience, it's better to talk to someone. His voice sounds heavy as he says this, as if his mind is a million miles away. It's not... Izuku begins to evade the subject, but for some reason, he stops himself. It's a little complicated. He begins, not knowing why he was even contemplating talking about this. He settles for being as vague as possible. What do you do if you know something that changes everything, but at the same time, nothing at all? He speaks quietly, voice barely above a whisper in the wind. Do you tell someone, or do you just go on like nothing ever happened? He knows what he must sound like right now. His words barely even make sense to him. Yet, somehow, Todoroki has the perfect answer. Well, this thing you're talking about, does it change things once the other person finds out? He starts by asking, eyes trained tentatively on Izuku until he gets a nod in response. Then, I guess it depends on whether you actually want things to change. I guess you're right. Do you mind me asking what it is? You don't have to, but I'm just curious. It's strange, seeing the usually pseudic Todoroki ramble. I don't mind telling you. Strangely, Izuku finds that the truth. That he doesn't really mind talking to Todoroki about this. The boy's calmness somehow helps him gather his thoughts in order. As long as you don't tell anyone about it, though. Todoroki nods seriously. Your secret is safe with me. He swears intensively, no trace of deception in his tone. Well, you see, when I was 10, I got into a car accident with my mom. The same accident that killed her and made me lose my eyesight. He feels the way Todoroki stiffens from his place next to him, but he doesn't let it deter him. If he stops now, he won't be able to get it out. What happened was the chemicals that destroyed my eyes also affected my body. It's disturbing, really, the calmness he feels while talking about it. The doctors back then told me I had 8 years to live, and until this afternoon, I thought I still had 4 left. He doesn't let himself feel for Todoroki's reaction, instead choosing to block his senses almost completely. My doctor told me today that something changed. He says, quietly, a sad smile unknowingly forming on his face. I don't have 4 years. I have 7, maybe 9 months left. And this, saying it out loud, makes it even more real. It makes all the difference. Getting the words out there, letting them hang in the silence around them. So, I guess it does changes things, huh? He chuckles. The sound holds no trace of humor. He feels the air around him getting colder, and thinks he might know who the source is. He doesn't let himself think about it, though. Instead, he makes his way back into the great hall, not noticing the outstretched hand reaching for him, nor the trembling of said limb. Thanks for letting me talk about this, Todoroki. He calls out quietly, just as he's about to step back into the room. Please, keep your promise. With that, he leaves the team behind. If he bothered to let his senses expand around him, he might have noticed the spiky-haired blonde hiding just behind the balcony door, having listened in on the conversation between the two boys. Alright, so we're gonna start. So, you see, okay, I'm not crying as much in this one. I just have like teary eyes. Oh my god, that was emotional. I want to talk about it. Okay, but I'll talk about that in the end thingy in the end. We're going in order here. So let's start off with the turmoil Izuku's probably feeling, because right now it hasn't fully hit him. I don't think it's fully hit him, and he's in that state of like, okay, I just started laughing a couple moments ago, and now I don't know how I got here. I'm here. Okay. I don't know why I'm sitting here, but something happened. He's kind of like dissociating, if I'm being honest. He seems to be dissociating. He seems to be also just blocking out his emotions, and all of this seems to be coping mechanisms that his brain is sending out just to be able to cope with the fact that he's dying sooner than he was before. Like, when you're prepared to die, you're like, okay, I have 4 years left, and then all of a sudden it's just like, it's cut short, and it's like, I'm already fucking fucked. What do you mean you're gonna fuck me again? Like, that's not fair. Life isn't fair, and that's the sad thing. Life isn't fair. And I think Izuku meeting the friends and having that thought of, okay, so this is the people who's going to comfort Shinsou even when I can't. That hurts my heart, because he's probably also inside, you know, viewing those people as his replacements. They're like, okay, these people are going to be able to do something I will never be able to do, something that I can never wish to do, which is be by Shinsou's side and never make him hurt. When Izuku knows he's going to make Shinsou hurt, he's going to leave his side at one point, and it hurts my heart. It really does. Okay, the whole talk about Shadow, I feel like Izuku really needed that. And the cute little moment they had where Shinsou's like, see, you're a hero, and Izuku's like, oh my god, stop, right? I love that cute little moment. I need more cute little moments. We're a little bit, we're at the halfway point, and they're not together yet. And I'm really starting to get worried, because you cannot have the whole slow burn and then they get together at the very end and then Izuku dies, because I will quit YouTube. I won't quit YouTube. But I will be very upset. very upset. Also, I saw that Kira18 had seen my notes at the end of the video. Hi, Kira18. You are making me sob. Thank you. No, thank you. Can we just not? Thank you very much. Also, if that ends up happening, like apart from me talking about Kira18, if that ends up happening where they get together towards the end and then Izuku dies, I will sob. I will sob. I will sob so hard. And I think the only thing that's gonna get me through it is reading the sequel that's going on right now, which is like, what if Izuku didn't die at that certain point. So like, I would love that, except I feel like that one will still have character death. My heart. Okay, Todoroki and Izuku's conversation. I feel like the reason why Izuku can tell him and not like someone, for example, Shinsou, and why someone like Todoroki gives him comfort while someone like Shinsou gives him like a bittersweet comfort, right? Or like doesn't give him comfort at all, is because with Hitoshi, Izuku is scared of telling him because he's scared of hurting him, right? And on top of that, he's scared of saying it out loud himself, because, you know, that means admitting that he is dying. It makes it all that much more real. It's why people don't say things out loud a lot, because it makes it that much more real. It's speaking into the world. And obviously, saying this to Todoroki is something different. This is a person that is out of the equation, right? And I've noticed this with myself and other people. You can tell absolute strangers your deepest, darkest secrets, right? Even if it's not anonymous, right? Like your secret of like, oh my god, this is happening, and I'm really like, I'm sorry if you could hear. I was about to say sorry if you could hear the children, and then I got a phone call. We love that, and I'm not editing that out. No, you guys are staying with that. Editing, ever since I started my podcast, is a nightmare for me, so I'm not editing that. Y'all just gonna have to fucking deal with it. Fucking deal with it. But yeah, that Todoroki thing, it's just like, it's easier to tell someone you don't know about like a secret that you've been keeping, or something really hard to tell your loved ones, because they're out of the equation. And you don't, like, Izuku won't hurt Todoroki, or at least he doesn't think he'll hurt Todoroki by saying that he's gonna die sooner than he, originally thought he was gonna die, right? Because he's not someone that is going to, oh my god, children! Is not going to, like, hurt because of it as much as someone, let's say, like, Bakugo or Hitoshi. Give me a second, the children. Okay, they were killing each other. Anyways, they weren't. They were not, but they were arguing. But point taken is, it's understandable how that happened. Also, why is it that Bakugo is such an eavesdropper? Like, man's is nosy as fuck. And also, I want to see how he reacts to it. You know, the whole, fuck, Izuku was gonna die in 4 years. And now it apparently, it's 7 to 9 months, not years, right? Like, how is Bakugo gonna react to that? And is Bakugo gonna tell Shinsou? I hope Bakugo tells Shinsou. I hope Izuku tells Shinsou. I hope Shindo finds out. I don't want him to think that he has more time with Izuku when he doesn't. And also, I want them to get together. Preferably next chapter, please, so we get more time with them together. Please! We haven't even, you know what's even worse? We haven't even started the whole, oh, I like him arc. And I'm scared. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. You're scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared! Okay, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.